Good afternoon. It is just past noon. This is today's forecast, not just for today, where we have a severe weather situation setting up in the northeast, but also we're going to be looking ahead within the next week or so at possible tropical developments and maybe US landfall, but we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But of course, we always start out with the temperatures, and in the east we have temperatures that are sitting in the 80s. And northeast are sitting very hot, some places in the 90s. So definitely a very warm day and also very ripe conditions for severe weather. There is an enhanced risk of severe storms up there, and of course we'll watch that and all that. So, and in the west we got temperatures that actually are not terrible, but again it's still morning for them, so they will start to heat up again today and the next few days here as well. So here are the current dew points. Again, also very moist in the east. The dew points in the east, along with those temperatures, those hot air temperatures, are just adding to that instability and it's creating again a very ripe environment for severe storms today. In the west, we do have dew points still actually quite muggy. In some spots, not all spots, but some areas are sitting in the higher or middle to higher end of the dew points, at least this time of year. Phoenix is sitting at 58, a little bit on the dewy side. That's my word. Anyway. Going on to the national radar, this is just a radar composite look at what's going on. There's some showers and storms for parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley area, and also some storms here in Florida in the Gulf Coast as well. Also some thunderstorms as well for parts of New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, and California. Some good rain hopefully falling there. National alerts. This is a little bit out of date. As far as stuff in the west, that's up to date, but there is also a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of central New York, also a couple of counties in southern Vermont. But they just issued this severe thunderstorm watch, number 326. This is for isolated hail up to quarter size. Scattered gusts up to 70 miles per hour are likely. And this goes until 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight. New severe thunderstorm watch, more are expected to be issued. But here's today's just overall look at things. Of course, you can see that severe risk outlined in yellow up in New England, also flash flooding possible for parts of the Ohio Valley and central United States. But again, a mostly wet pattern for the southern half of the U.S. today. So here's the convective outlook. There is, of course, that enhanced risk for parts of New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine today. That slight risk surrounding that going up to the Canadian border in Maine and going down into east central Ohio and northern and northwestern Virginia. And of course, the marginal risk goes down into the Ohio Valley. Here's just a closer look at the enhanced risk, or at the area here. So western or east central New York rather. Most of Massachusetts, southern Vermont, southern Rhode Island, and southern Maine as well. Very far northern Connecticut and very far northern Rhode Island today. Of course, it is all for wind. 30%, excuse me. A 30% chance of severe wind gusts within 25 miles of a given point in that enhanced risk area. As far as tornadoes, not likely. 2% on the northern end of that risk, and then 5% for hail. So hail is not that high of a chance either, so it's mostly just wind. And then here is tomorrow. Again, mostly wet pattern for much of the United States. Flash flooding possible for parts of the Appalachian Mountains. And here is also the SPC convective outlook, that marginal risk for much of the mid-Atlantic states. In fact, all threats are likely with that. Tornado, or possible with that rather, tornado, wind, and hail. All marginal risk in there. And again, same sort of deal for that. For the day on Friday. Of course, high pressure is sitting over the north central U.S., not allowing much rain for that area. But around that high pressure, there is the chance for thunderstorms for the southern and western half of the United States. And of course, same deal for the SVC risk. As far as rain totals, we have the heaviest amounts over the eastern half of the United States and next few days, but we are not done yet. I wanted to put all of this first, all of the just short-term outlook first, due to the severe weather situation today, and we'll get into tropics in just a moment. This is the high-res rapid refresh model off the 14Z run. This is valid at 18Z today, or 2 p.m. Did I just say 2 p.m.? Yes. 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Some storms are possible for western New York, west central New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and western Maine. Also possible for eastern Ohio. Some of these could be severe. And as we go on, a couple of these storms could be supercellular. Maybe producing winds, maybe some small hail. As far as tornadoes, that risk is low today. But again, we cannot rule that out. And as we go on through the afternoon into the evening, the HRRR, as far as the past 5-6 runs, has not done an amazing job with showing an enhanced risk threat for severe weather. It just hasn't really done a good job. It does show cells that could be producing strong winds, but as far as supercells and producing strong winds, which, by the way, not all supercells produce tornadoes. You can get supercells that produce hail, wind, and tornadoes, but not all of them will produce all three or just one. And you don't have to have a supercell to produce strong winds, but still, the HRRR has not really done a terrific job with that today. And they haven't really done a good job yesterday either. So this really has been a hard setup to forecast. It hasn't been easy for the models. It hasn't been easy for anybody to forecast this event. But again, a couple of storms are possible for these, but they'll mostly be isolated and scattered. So as far as what you may be seeing on the composite reflectivity, your house here may be under a storm. You're not guaranteed to get storms today. It's going to be a very hit or miss situation today in relations to what the HRRR is showing. And then things will quiet down about 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, and storms should be out of here by midnight. Let's look at the NAM 3 kilometer. Now, one thing, this model loves linear setups, but this model definitely is showing a more enhanced risk threat as well. So a couple supercells are possible in this one. So not just in the enhanced risk area, not just in New England, but also a couple of them also in Ohio as well. There are a couple that show up in Ohio. But again, you see what I'm talking about, more of a linear setup. Now, this could play out. The NAM 3 kilometer could be correct in this one. We do not know yet. There's so much disagreement within the model, so much uncertainty. Again, like I just said, this is a very, very difficult setup to forecast. This has been one of the most difficult ones of the season here. But at least the NAM 3 kilometer is suggesting the possibility of some supercells that could be wind and tornado risks or threats in that northern entity enhanced risk in New Hampshire and Maine. But as far as a wind setup, the NAM 3 kilometer is showing a better indication of that than the HRRR is. So again, a more widespread setup here, less isolated, less scattered, but a more widespread area. So storms for central Massachusetts, New York, and Pennsylvania are possible. But again, the radar's not going to look exactly like this. It's still likely going to be a hit or miss situation wherever you're from. So just keep it in mind here. Now, this is 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight. And yeah, there is definitely some indication of some possible supercells near the Boston metro area and also along the Three Corners area between Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts as well. But again, take this with a grain of salt. It's not going to look exactly like this. And then by 10 to midnight, things should be out. And temperatures should start to quickly cool down. Now the tropics. It is pretty active for late June, early July. We have two areas of interest here. We got a 10% chance, that's 95L, Invest 95L, approaching the Windward Islands today and tonight. Also, Invest 97L, that is the orange area there. That's the one that's behind 95L, has a 60% chance of development within the next 2 days. And the 5-day outlook, still that 10% chance for... still that 10% chance for 95L to form. This storm is going to be carrying a lot of shear. It's going to be in a very unfavorable environment. So this thing could become a tropical storm, but is very unlikely at this time. Models have kind of given up on that. And here's the shear map. It may look confusing, but just look at the colors here. Anything that really is above 20 to 25 is mostly unfavorable for tropical storm developments. Now you may see 97L, it won't have much of a chance of developing, but the shear is somewhat forecast to not be as strong once 95L comes in. Now it all depends on timing, it all depends on how fast 95L moves, 97L rather. And 97L is moving about 20 to 25 miles per hour. It's a very fast moving system. That shear does not lessen by the time that it gets to that area and to the Caribbean. It may not survive. So really, this is the biggest factor in terms of how strong this will be if it even fully develops into a strong state. So we'll watch that. But again, 60% chance of development for the next few days. The structure is looking pretty... It's still disorganized, but it is starting to get that tropical cyclone shape. It's just starting to get into that state. The thing is that this is kind of an elongated storm. It's very disorganized in terms of the wind field. So the wind field is going to be quite distorted for at least the next few days until the storm can get its act together once it gets out of that shear and once it starts to get organized. But again, 80% chance, a high chance of development within the next 5 days. This is the storm we really need to watch for the Caribbean, and also potentially looking 7-8 days out, a potential US impact, but that's still very far out. That's all in voodoo as of now. Here's 95L. A lot of the models have just given up on this storm. They don't really expect this thing to survive much. A lot of them kill it out within 24 hours, and I don't think this thing's going to survive. It could prevail later on, but it could dissipate as well. Intensity guidance, some of them keep it up to a tropical storm, but it is very, very uncertain what's going to happen with 95L. 97L, however, is looking to be the storm of very interesting proportion. A lot of them have an agreement to take it across the Windward Islands, take it across the Northern Caribbean, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican, and Cuba. Some of them want to keep it alive and maybe have it to be a Florida landfall. But again, this is 140 to 192 hours out. This is very far out. And it could stay this way. It could end up happening, but again, still take this with a grain of salt. And then, of course, the overall view of it still has that same story coming to the Eastern Gulf. But anyway, the message is landfall could be anywhere from the southern Atlantic coast, that could be the east coast of Florida or Georgia or South Carolina, all the way over to western Louisiana. So there is some big area. There's a large area that could be impacted by this storm. So its intensity guidance. Most of the models had this thing developing within the next 12 hours. So possibly by late tonight, early tomorrow morning, this thing could become Tropical Storm Elsa. We will keep watching that. Possibly by 2 p.m., this thing could become Tropical Depression 5. So we're going to watch this one. But we'll see if it will let it go eventually. But we're going to see that. Now here, we'll get to GFS here. This is 198 hours out. This is Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday. Oopsies. I just messed that up. Okay. Here it is. So, 977 low pressure right before landfall. So this is, if it's stage 1, which it could be stage 2, which means that stage 2 means that it is strengthened to strong storm before and weakened and came back here. Here's the thing about tropical cyclones is that if it's on its first intensification cycle, and it says goes up to a minimal Cat 3. The pressure could be about 965, 960 or so, maybe 955, and it weakens and such, and it's weakening to a Cat 1. You can still have low pressure in the 970s, in the 980s with a Cat 1 storm. The pressure does not always equate to wind speed. So you had to keep that in mind. So this could be maybe a Cat 2 at landfall, but again, this is so far out that it's so uncertain. This could be anywhere from tropical storm to a major hurricane. We do not know that yet. Probably by July 4th, we're going to get a better grasp of this storm to see possibly how strong it is or how strong it could be and where it could make landfall. But again, the GFS is showing the potential a Florida landfall. Now again, this could change. The European at the same time is not showing much. It just isn't showing anything in terms of tropical cyclone development or even landfall. Now this is actually this is a little bit far. This is a little bit earlier. I messed up the timing with this. So this is actually 3 hours before that shot, 975. So this could be mid Cat 2 if it's stage 1. It could be Cat 2. But again, I'm not going to really quote intensity on this. So again, take this with a large grain of salt because there's a lot of uncertainty with this. And then landfall. GFS is depicting landfall late Thursday morning. So 984 there. So, and of course, models don't do an amazing job of showing wind on land, especially far out from the center of the storm. So again, keep that into account as well. But anyways, a little bit of a quicker video today than yesterday, but we're gonna definitely keep watching the tropics more and more now, especially 97L. That could become Tropical Storm Elsa by tonight. Of course, we'll keep you updated on our Twitter feed and such. So that's all for today. We'll have more videos on this severe weather situation. We could be live tonight. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you do not miss our live coverage tonight. And also more forecast videos on potential tropical developments for the next little while. So with that said, thank you all for watching. Have a great day, have a great week, and I'll see you all in the next video.